Okay, please go ahead.
Hi, hi everyone. Welcome back to 文社. I'm your host Yating. Today, our topic is about Turkish people in Germany. Before we start, here is the landscape we are talking about. In Germany today, there are around 3 million people have a Turkish background, and over 1.2 million have a Syrian background. Altogether, according to the data, about 5.5 million Muslims live in Germany. Nearly 3 million of them are Turkish citizens. Turkish origin Muslims remain the largest group, followed by those with Arab roots. And as Chinese, on social media, I found that these numbers often feel fears of Islamization, concerns that Muslim background migrants won't integrate and are reshaping German society in troubled ways. So in today's episode, we will talk with someone who lives in this reality. He is a German-born Turkish citizen, and according to his view and his opinion, we will discuss these questions on migration, Islam, and Germany's social and political problems. So welcome to join us, Snake.
Hi, how are you guys?
Okay. Snake works in some field related to media, and except for his normal job, he is also a gamer, and he was grown up in the 1990s and grown up with these Japanese video games and manga. So just like our young Chinese people. And let me just start with the first question about your growing up experience as Turkish in Germany. How was it?
It was fairly normal, I would say. It wasn't like I was only hanging out with Turkish people, I guess. It was also a place where I met obviously a lot of Germans and other nationalities and ethnicities, but obviously it's mostly German. As in my childhood, obviously. And my childhood wasn't very different from others, I would say. Growing up, I was playing football in a football team, or went to school, went to kindergarten. So everything that is basically what you would experience here in Germany. So I wasn't like an outsider, but back in the day, I wasn't talking a lot. So as far as during the kid times, I would say I haven't been really not just influenced by Japanese media, but I have been fairly Americanized. Especially when it comes to music. I was listening to a lot of English music because as a kid, when you open up the radio, you just hear American music, not just hip hop, but rock, pop music, Michael Jackson, like those type of people, R&B. So this is also pretty this is what pretty much influenced me in the long run.
Then how about Turkish music?
Turkish music, I sometimes hear it, but I'm very picky about it now. When it comes to the newer ones, I don't really listen to it at all. I'm more like listen to the older singers because they got better voices and they got it just sounds better personally. Everything nowadays is just pop music.
So what I know about you is that your parents went to Germany with your grandparents, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So is it that consider you are like the second generation or the third generation?
I'm the third generation. But I think my parents are second generation, I would say.
Yeah. But what is your mother tongue?
Obviously German.
German, but you also speak Turkish?
Yeah, I speak Turkish as well. Also speak English.
How do you compare with your Turkish level with German level with English?
My German level is obviously better. There's no doubt.
And then?
Then maybe English, and then Turkish.
And then how about Chinese level?
I would say it's still also better than Turkish. Yeah, I can make better sentences. I would say that.
I mean, what I heard about like the Chinese living abroad, and then they always mention their experience about discriminations or about racism. Do you have this type of like memory or experiences?
Not very much, actually. Back in the day, we were we were warned not to go to certain places because there's some like neo-Nazis in every corner and this and that. Like I saw them, but I didn't really got into a trouble with them at the end of the day. So it was just a good thing. So it's not like I saw racism every corner or whatever. I didn't get hassled. I didn't get ripped. Obviously, if you're in kindergarten, you get bullied maybe because you look different. But apart from that, I didn't really experience like blatant racism like other people. My father, he may really saw that because there was like gangs that pretty much didn't like foreigners, and then there were gangs who hated those people who hated foreigners. So there was like a lot of gang warfare happening, like not with guns, but they were just beating up each other all the time.
Oh.
But yeah, that was my father's time, I guess. That was more racism, open racism there. What people think inside, I cannot tell you. Maybe there are people who are racist, but they don't show that due to maybe cancel culture or maybe political correctness. But like I said, I didn't face it. That's just me as a person.
So you mentioned that you get some bullied in kindergarten, but how about after primary school or middle school?
Or middle school, we bullied each other. We bullied each other.
Like, is it about race or is it about
everything?
Everything.
You're too fat. You're an Arab. Why don't you? Yeah. Basically, they make jokes about Arabs being terrorists. So they blow themselves up. So we make fun of that, and then the Turkish people getting mugged on. So it is a form of a group thing. Like we all just bully each other.
No matter you are German or Turkish.
That didn't matter.
Okay, that sounds funny. You know, it's like stupid middle school kids.
Yeah, it is. We were middle school kids. We're stupid. That's what we did. We just didn't care. We just said stupid stuff. But yeah, like looking back, yeah, it was maybe. I think nowadays, yeah, people would look at you really in a bad way if you say something like that. Yeah.
But how about high school? And then people get
high school. High school was more mature. Like yeah, we still made stupid jokes, but and we laughed a lot. Like there was a time when I was laughing way too much, but there was no like this type of bullying. Like we just talked with each other, like no problem.
I mean, because for me, sometimes when I go to the Catholic part, I met a couple of like high school students. I mean, they like grew up, you know, content with Turkish, French, and Arabs. I mean, they quite get along well with each other, and then there's nothing related about racism. I do find that.
Yeah, there's a different era. Back in the time, we just talked more openly about how we want to make fun of Arabs or Turks or Kurdish people or whatever. Like,
what kind of like joke about that?
About what?
You know, you make fun about Arab and Kurdish.
Arab people, for example, haha, like you probably blow yourself up the next day, like because you want to kill people. Like you are probably a terrorist or this and that. Like, oh, you love Osama, you're a friend of Osama bin Laden, this and that. Like basically things like that. And we make like noises like that sound like Arab terrorists just to mock them. With Kurdish people, we just made fun of them. They don't have a country, so this is what we did.
That's so funny. And then because so for the joke about Arab is related to 9/11, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then
9/11, yeah.
9/11, yeah. So you know, like for Chinese, like you know, Turkish and the Arabs somehow it looked the same, and then they all considered like Turkish, Arab, all Muslim, and potentially to be terrorists.
Yeah.
You heard about this, yeah. And so as I know that you speak multiple languages, and you know, you kind of like grow up in a bilingual environment, and there's like some connection that between for you to study Chinese in your university.
I thought I was good at languages, so I decided to do that actually. Maybe I should have, looking back, maybe I shouldn't have done completely China studies, and maybe, I don't know, studied something more practical, like chemistry or something, and then do Chinese. So that's something I would regret. But yeah, that was like my thinking after high school. Like I really didn't know what to study because my grades weren't the best. So I obviously couldn't do something like medicine. So I had to get something. It was either that or do job training. But I decided to go to university.
Okay, related to the university, it just reminds me of another Turkish friend mentioned that back then, you know, for the our generation, like kids born after 1990s, like the teachers always recommend Turkish or Arab students to do job training rather than enter the university. Is that true?
Didn't hear that.
You didn't hear that. It's not your experience.
Nobody said to me something. My one of the teachers actually told me, like, do you know what you're gonna do? And I said, absolutely not. Maybe I'm studying and stuff, and then I told the exact thing that you told about languages and such. So I didn't really know, but no teacher was like saying, oh, you should do job training because you're Turkish, or you should do that because you're Arab. No, nothing.
So what I feel can I just say that it's kind of like personal experience, like to be, treated differently, or just the teacher didn't treat you differently with other German students.
Didn't have the feeling of that, actually.
But I actually saw the data is like there's less population or less percentage of Turkish and Arab finish high school and join the university back then. I mean, what do you think of the reason?
Well, the first generation didn't come here to study or to go to school. They were already grown-ups who were just looking for jobs. They didn't storm schools and get an education. The second generation is where it started, pretty much, for my father's. And my father and my mother don't have the best education, I would say, but they're not stupid people, or they don't live off government welfare or something. Like, they have jobs and they have ways to have income. So my generation started to do more of that, like to go to school, not to have good grades, as good as possible at least, and go to university and or do job training, stuff like that. This is more now of that.
So I think actually it sounds like not too much different with other group. When you talk about maybe German group, you saw data, or Chinese group, I think it's kind of like same. Like the young generations are more likely to enter the university than compared with their parents' generation.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not. I wouldn't say that it's not that special. And okay, my next question may be about like identity and belonging. So how do you identify yourself? Like, you are Turkish-German?
Obviously, I'm Turkish because I don't look like German. I'm a German citizen. I'm legally here. I was born here, but I don't look like a German. So obviously, I cannot call myself really German. So I have a Turkish background.
Or do you feel that like something different when you stay in Germany and when you go back to Turkey for vacation?
Obviously, because of the language barrier, it's harder for me to communicate in Turkey because I don't possess the language skills that much, actually. It's different, but there's also great places there. But since I never really lived there, it's a different country for me. Obviously, I lived my whole life in Berlin, Germany, so I also kind of feel like I belong here.
You belong to Berlin?
Pretty much. I belong more to Berlin because other German cities where I wasn't really feeling it, because it was just like, it's not Berlin, it's just a different city. It's like you go to places and the capacity of people, the population, I'm sorry, is like so low. It's like completely a new world for you, and that's something I would never be feeling that very easy to get used to that.
So you only think that you belong to Berlin?
That's how I feel like, yeah. It's like my own country, pretty much.
And so I was just kind of like curious about another question. Do you think there can have some stereotype about Turkish?
Stereotype?
Yeah, in Germany.
Stereotype is maybe a person that is acting asocial, pretty much. Like they cannot speak German really well, and they act very aggressive towards you. And there's truth to that, but I don't think that is. Another thing is that probably maybe the stereotype that every Turkish is a Muslim.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best stereotype, but not every Turkish man is a Muslim. So there's also atheists or whatever. But too many stereotypes, I guess. I mean, maybe that we eat döner a lot, but that's not what we all do. I mean, I do, but we don't eat it every day. So I don't think this is completely true. But yeah, obviously döner kebab, that's part of our food culture, obviously. So I would say those are like the stereotypes. I would say like the term kanaka is like a pretty good term, because that just symbolizes a Turkish or even Arab person who's doesn't have good social skills pretty much and articulates himself in a very bad way. But there are people like this, that's true. But I'm not one of them.
So what does the word like Kanaka mean? Because I heard this word from like some TV series.
Yeah, Kanaka, Kanaka can be used as a derogatory way to express like, you know, Turks and Arabs and people alike, like Middle Eastern type of people that work flat out asocial and not doesn't have good social skills and good competences to communicate and act very rude and stuff.
So is it like equal with, you know, it means the people who are not integrated in the society?
You could say that.
And how do you think about what do you think about the integration, this word? You know, is it a meaningful word or?
Well, I don't know how people really define integration. Like they say first that you have to learn a language, and then they say next time, oh, you need to have a job. Because now they say that there's people who say, even in like I've read articles, they say, well, now that you understand how to speak German, well, that's not enough anymore. Now you also need to get a job. I'm like, yeah, that's very easy to get a job. You know, if you may look differently, like because people tell me that they have it really hard because they don't look German, so they have to do more applications than usual. So they have it a little bit of a problem to really find good places to work for. And you know, if you are, I mean, can you call someone who's doing his best to find a job and not getting recruited, like, but he can speak German? Like, you call him not integrated? I think he's very integrated personally, and he shouldn't be frowned upon, actually. Now, there's people who are very obviously who are, you know, taking advantage, who are very lazy. That's not, and yeah, I criticize that, but it's not just Turkish people, it's also Germans. It's everyone. It doesn't matter who.
Yeah, you know, it just reminds me some like Chinese. You know, I think obviously most Chinese here they study and then they can have a kind of good job. So and they think like it's hard for them to integrate. But when they compare themselves with Turkish or Arab, I feel that there's the type of like critics on Turkish and Arab, like that. You know, they always stay with Turkish, stay with their own communities, like kind of behaving like an Islamic way, and then they don't really integrate Turkish German society. And I just have a feeling that some Chinese think they are better immigrants than the others. You know what I mean. And then what do you think of this critics? Yeah,
I don't know what they say. Like, I don't know what that means. If you don't make any trouble, then I don't care who you are. You can be Chinese, Japanese, whatever. Like, I don't care. My problem is that people look at Turks, they take over, like they are going somewhere, they live and they get more, and then people have the sense of saying they're taking over. If Japanese do it in Germany, which is the case, then there's not a takeover. It's just normal. Like, they don't care. It's Japanese because that doesn't count. If it's Turkish people, I guess, then they put more emphasis towards it because I guess we're more people, so people have more eyes on that.
Yeah, because somehow, like, for me, I think that the Chinese critics about like Turkish or Arab is kind of sometimes doesn't make sense for me, because just look at yourself. You are also immigrants. Why do you always, you know, like criticize other immigrants for not to be good, and then you think you are better immigrants than them? I mean, as the like minorities in this society, why not? I think why not just work to unify together, and then I don't know, like.
Oh.
Maybe I think something like I feel also weird for Chinese communities. And yeah, well, since I mentioned Chinese, I think like, you know, Chinese people always has a lot of misunderstanding or stereotype about Islam, and I know that you are Muslim, and then so I'm gonna ask some questions about like your perspectives on Islam, and is Islam part of your life? In what way?
Well, I believe in it, so yeah, it's a part of my life, obviously. I also practice it as much as I can. It's important to me, obviously. It's part of my faith. That's pretty much it. Like, I cannot say anything else here at this point. if people say that Islam is a problem, if Chinese people are saying it, then my question to you is, why don't you do anything against it in your own country? You know, you have probably millions more Muslims in your country than here in Germany. So I think they should relax a little bit, if you ask me.
I think like Chinese people's critics about like, you know, the German is getting, you know, more and more Islam, and then there's a word even called Germanistan.
Germanistan?
Yeah, Germanistan.
Yeah, they always say that. There's like one corner of a district completely Arabs and Turks. Now it's Germanistan. You know, like I said, in Düsseldorf, there's a whole place full of Japanese people. Do they call it Japanistan now? Like that's not fair, actually. Like, so if you're bothered with that, then at least go all the way and say, this is I don't like when Japanese are also full of people. Like, no, I'm not okay with that. And Germanistan, I think by that the notion they mean like every corner of Germany has been pretty much overthrown by or taken over by Arabs and Turks. I think if you go to Rostock or if you go to Kiel or if you go to Koblenz, you barely see any of those people. You know, they just look at Berlin or München and then they think, oh, everywhere this is like the same. Like, no, it's not. It's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, Berlin, München, or Cologne is just, you know, the big cities is just, naturally has more immigrants.
Yeah, Berlin has just more immigrants because more people want to come here. That's why. Obviously, it's a big city. Like, nobody says, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to Kiel, which is like not even close to the size of Berlin. Obviously not going to work there. Or Duisburg.
And another question also related to these critics that is let me phrase my question. So on Chinese social media, they think it's like German become like not as good as before because there's so many you know, Islam immigrants, and then these people who, you know, always give birth a lot of kids and then they don't work, you know, they just take the welfare, and then, you know, it's kind of like a stereotype, you know. I mean, sometimes I wouldn't say like it can be true because you always see some like the women with the hijab and then she you know, she hold like 2 kids, and then at the same time like the baby card is another one, and then she's also pregnant. I wouldn't say that it's kind of like true because it's according to my own observation. But I would like to ask your opinion about this. You know, they complain that the Muslim has so many kids, like some name like Ahmad, Muhammad become like the most popular names of the newborn kids. So
well, when it comes to the native people, I tell them, well, if you are so bothered by it, why don't you make more babies? That's number one. Because they can do it, so you can do it too. And number two, when it comes to Chinese complaining about the current state of Germany, who are like, they're coming from China and they complain about this country. I want to quote something that the movie star Jackie Chan said once when people criticized China. If you don't like it, go. Very simple. If you don't like it, piss off. We don't need you here. Just go away. Stay in your country.
I do think there's many Chinese are trying to like move out from Germany.
If they want to move out, no problem. Like, good riddance. Like, I don't care. By the way, you got your own problems. Now you're being discriminated against by Japanese people. So if people say that, I don't care. Like I said, it's not your country. I live here. You're a guest. You are a guest here. In Rome, do as the Romans rule. How do you say it in Chinese? Ru xiang sui su. Yeah, exactly. In Rome, do as the Romans rule. And if you don't like it, well, get away. We don't need you.
But how do you think like Turkish or Arab kind of like 入乡随俗 in Germany?
入乡随俗? Yeah, I'm not saying they should drink beer and be not religious, because German people can also be religious people. Like, don't be saying that. I'm just saying is that if you are a guest in this country, do not complain like you own the country. Like, come on now. Like, this is a little bit unfair here. Like, if I would do that, if I would do the same thing they would do in China, they would tell me, if you don't like it, leave. obviously. But I can understand that. But like I said, if people complain too much, hey, just go. I'll say it. And the thing is we have religious freedom here. You cannot tell someone to be Muslim or not Muslim. They have to decide for themselves.
I think like many Chinese actually complain a lot about, obviously that women wear hijab. Yeah. They think it's like these Muslim women, they are not so feminist. They are like living under the patriarchy because they were forced to wear the hijab.
They're forced to wear it.
Yeah. Also, like Turkish friend that they can choose actually. The women here, you can choose wear hijab or not actually.
No, obviously.
Yeah. And what's your opinion?
Well, if they want to wear it, they can wear it. They're not being forced to do it. So what else can you say? If Christians are, listen, I know there's not just Chinese who are like very mad about, they always cover up. I'm first like, why do you care? It's not like she takes her headscarf off and all of a sudden you fall in love with her. Like, no, let her have it. Like, everybody has to do their own decisions what they like and not. I'm just think it's unfair to look at a woman that's wearing a headscarf and say she's oppressed. I'm like, and that's the most oxymoronic term. Like, there's like conservatives who hate Islam and all that, and they are like thinking it's important to free women from oppression, like a conservative person who probably is sometimes a Christian, which I don't know if you read your scripture, but I read that women also have to cover up when they're Christian women.
The middle.
They do. It says it. If they don't, they have to cut their hair short. That's what it says. But like I said, I'm not all too bothered by it. Like, I think if you don't make a problem, like, you can wear whatever you want, I guess. Just don't run around naked, I guess. That's even worse. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think like some people, they were, kind of, I wouldn't say like brainwashed, or they just get used to the feeling that, if the woman has been free, it's got freedom, and then you should show off your hair, your body, and then, or it's like, what is the word religious? The other, what is the opposite word? Is I forgot the English. I forgot the word. It's like
what?
世俗化. What's the word?
I don't know exactly.
I forgot the word. Like, it's just like, I think they have a lot of misunderstanding about being
ignorance. Maybe a little bit ignorant, but I don't know.
So, but you were born here, so you are not an immigrant, but you have an immigrant background. And what do you think of the immigrant or refugee here? Because
I think
for some Chinese, they kind of equal with the immigrants with Turkish roots or Arab roots equal with the Arab, because they cannot really differentiate.
They cannot differentiate the people. Well, I know, but if you look at the name, you can differentiate some, I guess. The thing with immigrants is I obviously, like, I cannot tell, like, 0% immigration is completely, I think that's completely impossible to make. When you also look at Japan, they try to do that, and that doesn't really work, because some places are, some institutions are very dependent on this. Like, for example, in Japan, you have healthcare workers who take care of old people, and most of them are immigrants. So if you and we have, by the way, like, if you talk about taxation and stuff, like, people pay their taxes, and 20% of people in this country who pay their taxes are either immigrants or have a migration background, myself included in this one. So that we should be thankful for them to do that, because that's better than a German man, a very rich person, not paying taxes and putting his money in Switzerland and not paying taxes. I think that is something I talk about. They love to talk about solidarity. Why don't you show solidarity with the migrants who actually pay their taxes in this country? So I think this is a little bit, there's too much extremes going on. Like, I'm not for 100% uncontrolled immigration, because it's not going to help anyone. It doesn't help the people who live here, and it doesn't help the immigrants, obviously, because they need to live off of something. Like, they cannot just come here and then they are living in the streets. That's also terrible. Obviously, we have a lot of immigrants because of war. So my appeal to the people would say, maybe don't do war. Like, then people won't have to leave their homes and drive hundreds of kilometers to come to Europe and then hopefully stay alive. So I would be against creating more wars that actually creates these immigrants. And we don't just have Syrians, we have every country, like almost like we have Ukraine right now, we have Afghanistan, we have Syria, we have Iraq, we have Lebanon, we have Palestine. Like it's just many places where people need to want to get out because it's hell there right now. In certain places, obviously, like Libya also. So what are you going to do? Like, are you going to completely shut down? And how does this going to work out? Like, how do you want to do that? Do you want to establish a whole wall around Europe, if you will call it? I mean, they talk about it, actually. They talk about Festung Europa, which is called like a whole place that is shut down, like isolated from immigration, like all around the EU and Europe. So I don't know if that's going to work. Obviously, people can be very mad about, someone who's working hard here doesn't get certain benefits that maybe Ukrainians get. Like maybe they get like a very quick home to live, and then someone who lives here the whole time struggling doesn't get anything like that. Maybe you should also do that for them as well, if you can do it so easily. But I don't know what to do. Like I can look at an immigrant and then I say, if you acting like an idiot, obviously I wouldn't. Or if you cause trouble, then yeah, you shouldn't be here, because that's not how it works. Like you shouldn't do that. If I would be in Syria and act like a fool and act like a problematic person who's doing nothing but make people uncomfortable or do whatever, then yeah, obviously I should leave the country. That's just my perspective.
Yeah, what I heard, according to Chinese social media, that they always think these refugee immigrants always bring troubles, like they create more percentage of the criminals. I mean, I think it's kind of like bias, because there's also data show that the local Germans also has a very high rate of the criminals. But the media always just try to get people to focus on immigrants or refugees with Islamic background.
Well, that's all come from media, I would say.
Yeah. It's not really fair. So.
Not a fair thing, because this whole media thing, I mean, it didn't just, it started with 9/11 for the most part. But if you have certain individuals who talk about Muslims every day, then obviously people are gonna eat it up, and they think this is 100% that way. Like there's no other truth. A good example is Tilo Sarrazin, who used to work at a German bank. Like now he's writing books, and he made this bogus statistic that he said that the next 100 years this whole place of Germany will be full of Muslims. And he said 100 years. I mean, first of all, I don't even know what's happening next year. Like I don't know. He said if the trend goes on like that, then it will be 100 years later, it will be only Muslims in this country. And if the German person is reading that, obviously he's gonna feel like insane, like angry, like what? 100 years only me and the Muslims? Like obviously that's not gonna work. You're dead anyway. But it's like I said, how do you know what's gonna happen 100 years later? People say that other experts are saying that if we do not reduce our energy level and energy consumption, then certain places of Germany will be underwater. So I'm thinking about now, how does Germany look in the next 100 years? So mosques everywhere and they're underwater. What does that mean? Like, I don't really understand that. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, people cannot tell me in the next 100 years what will happen. It's just so dumb. But the problem is, media likes to talk about that. Media likes to talk about that. Or if someone is making an official statement that he or she is burning the Quran in the open street, then everybody's going to look at it, and then they're going to hope, let's see if the Arabs and the Turks and the Muslims are being mad, so they do terrorist attacks. Obviously, if you burn a holy book, people are going to get mad. But this is the stigma that's being created. You focus on that, and not only and only on the immigrants that have maybe like a Muslim background or whatever. So that's my problem, I would say. I think this is where this whole insight comes from. Actually, it's just media.
Yeah, I think sometimes like media always trying to make people in the other direction. I know kind of misunderstanding because sometimes it's not really quite objective. And but another question I think related to this phenomenon is about actually German's population. Actually German really need immigrants. Because the German, you don't have enough like the newborn people is
yes.
And then you are facing the Asian society. That's why you need more immigrants to work here and then to pay tax and then to support this type of welfare state. But what I hear, kind of like there are some people think, the problem that the German's welfare state that currently faced is because there are so many immigrants, so many refugees who don't work and then who just to take over the Bürgergeld, and then that's why they destroy the welfare state. And then what's your opinion?
I don't know if they destroy the welfare state, but if people don't have a job, how are they supposed to live? I include everybody in this one. It's not just there's also people in this welfare state who work a lot, and they need money somehow. Like they don't get anything, and I don't want to generalize against every immigrant, because I'm pretty sure there's certain Ukrainians and Syrians who were working really hard in their countries and they have nothing anymore. So what are they gonna do? Like, are they gonna miraculously speak perfect German and then find a place to work? No, it's not that easy. So I don't know, man. Like I said, don't do any much wars, but I know we're not gonna do that because that's making money. So
yeah,
obviously we're gonna we are pretty much in the vicious cycle here. So I think it's not easy to stop that. If the German government is saying that we want to stop doing that for immigrants or certain nationalities, then yeah, obviously I can see that people are not going to be happy about this decision, depending on where you're from, like what your background is actually.
Yeah, and what you said, I think is kind of makes sense. That there's still some people that need the Bürgergeld and then for leave, and then before they can work in Germany, they have to do some like the language study, and then then they can find a job. But I also saw there's another data I think actually shows that the problem of the German welfare state is like not only about these too many people just to take over the Bürgergeld. It's also about the Asian society, because there's a huge the baby boomers generation will retire in the next couple of years, but you don't have enough the young laborers who support for this. There's like the retires the system like a Rente, like yeah. That's why like Germany really need to bring more immigration to Germany and then to work to support this system. And I think like the media, they always just focus on the refugee or the people who relies on the Bürgergeld, but they are just like a really small percentage of the German financial system. Like I think maybe like 10% of this. But actually, the more problem that's really related to the baby boomers generation will retire.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. But I think we can also change laws to make the pension funds easier to distribute. But right now we have Riester-Rente, which is not working for everybody. So we just need to change that. We also need to change the fact of how much money you give away to the state so they can actually finance pension funds, because the more you make, it's not like the more you make, the more you have to give away for that. You pay always the same amount. You don't pay the same percentages. If you get 10,000 a month, you only pay 1,000 euros into it, and that also applies to the person who earns like 3,000. Then you also have to pay 1,000. It's not the same percentage. It's just the same number. The percentage doesn't get bigger at this point, and I'm like, that needs to be changed. Number one. What we also change is a complete pension fund system. So we have to basically build a pension system around where we call it like Umlageversicherung. The Umlageversicherung just basically says what economically we achieve in percentages is going to be distributed for the people who are too old, the people who work, and the people who are too young. Now, the only downside of this is you cannot have exponential growth for it. That doesn't mean every year you have more. you have as much as you make every year, how much you create economically. So that is actually something that is realistic, because that cannot break completely and get completely broken. Like, because here it says how much you make, that's what we distribute. And then we have to tell the people, the baby boomers, we say, hey guys, we cannot have exponential growth economically. Sometimes we make more, sometimes we make less, but we always have something. That's what we need to do. But and there's a country who does it. Switzerland does it. Switzerland does exactly that. And I think if they can do it, we can do it too, because we do a lot more money every year than they do. So it's simple to make, but unfortunately we have a policy when it comes to pension funds and taxation that only benefits the super rich here. This is the problem. And I don't see any politician doing actually that, so it can actually help people that, you know, are in need, like not just migrants, but also people who are born here. So if that happens, then we see a lot more positives, and then they all don't always have to look down on people who have a migration background. That's the thing that I would like to change, because that would actually help people, not this whole debate about integration and headscarves and Muslims are taking over. It's like it's just dumb.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I think, you know, as people just focus too much on the certain kind of like identify, you know, problems. You know, like you are Muslims, I am Chinese, I'm Japanese, and then you all live in a small bubble, and then you just focus on this, like if you are feminism or not, or if you protect, you know, the environment. I think like, but somehow like people really ignore the real problem that the society are facing. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what you just say now, like the government need to do some reform on certain like the tax rate.
No.
Yeah.
They have to do all these reforms, so that helps people, so they don't have to be worried too much about money, because the only reason they have that is because they believe, I mean, they don't have much savings, and they wonder why that is. But instead of looking at the government and say, you guys are at fault, the media creates this picture where the migrants are at fault for some reason, you know. So this is the problem. Though this is what I don't like. I think that needs to be changed. I think the government needs to be held more accountable, more than anyone, actually.
So what do you think about the new government, like May's administration?
I don't know really what to say. Like, they spent more money on war.
Yeah.
And now they want to bring back military drafts next year for 18-year-olds. And they say if there's not going to be enough people who are coming in voluntarily, we're going to have a draft. And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. Because I think you've created a society of people that, for the most part, doesn't even care about going to the army or whatever. Like, you know, I mean, I think I'm exempt for it already because I'm too old for it. This is and here's the thing: they want to take 18-year-olds. Like, our shrinking population is a problem for that. So I don't know how they want to solve this issue the way, like, you know, to make a better army and stuff. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work.
I think this, you know, May's administration sounds like very ambitious, because since Donald Trump wanted to focus more on the East rather, and then they asked Germany or Europe to take their own responsibility for the security of Europe, and then it's kind of like, you know, gave Germany the chances that to rebuild the military, you know, to build a strong national force, national defense, but then I think that Germany has a lot of the domestic problem that need to be solved. First is the welfare state, and then the aging society, and now they want to call for the well decent, and then call for the 18-year-old kids to the wall, and then I mean, it sounds like really ambitious, and then I don't know if they can really solve these problems or just bring new problems.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't have faith in the government. Like, it's not the very first time I have it, so I don't really see I don't see a difference anyway.
So
all the parties for me are the same, pretty much. They do the same ideas. Now the newest thing is that they're going to bring back military drafts, but it's not a game changer. It's just dumb.
What's your opinion of AfD?
Just the same thing as any other party. I don't trust them.
I think Chinese.
They want their old. They want the old Germany back. Oh, you can go to Spain for 20 euros, and you can you can eat every food for €2 and this and that. They want West Germany back. This high salary country. They want this back. They want that old Germany back, I think. But I don't know if this is realistic.
Some people criticize AfD as Nazis. Do you think they are Nazis, or?
I don't know if every single one of them is Nazis. I know what they are. They are like hardcore Zionists. They're really, really, really pro-Israel. Some people call them anti-Semitic. I'm like, do you guys actually listen to what they say? They're very pro-Israel, like on this one. They even went to Israel. So I don't know. I mean, what they're going to do, that remains to be seen if they come into power. But I know for a fact that any party will not get over 50%. This is not going to work. They're always going to have a coalition, and I don't know which of the parties is willing to actually do a coalition with AfD. So, and AfD also changed their image a lot. That already for me is like a red flag, because you change your policy images, your party images. Basically, at the beginning, AfD was not what it is now. It is more back in the day. AfD was get out of the EU and bring back German mark, like the old German currency. They don't talk about that anymore. Now it's migrants and a strong Europe. Same thing that the CDU is always saying. Oh, we want to have a strong Europe. Like they want to have this Euro state, this United States of Europe. That's what they want, where all the countries are really united in one country and this and that. Like that's what they want. They want to have like the United States of America version of Europe. I don't know if they want to. I don't know if that will succeed, but I know for a long time, even Willy Brandt was talking about this. Gerhard Schröder is talking about. They always talked about this united Europe, like not in the terms of that we all understand each other, but they really want to create this country, like a new country that is built out of EU states. Like they pretty go much for the Kalergi plan that I read that was read during the 40s and 50s. So I don't know if that's going to work, but AfD is not different from that. They just the only difference between that and the rest of the parties is they love to point more at migrants, while the Green Party doesn't think the migrants can't do any bad thing at all. So this is both extremes. Obviously, they're not going to work together.
Yeah, it's I think Germany now is facing a lot of problems. And thank you for your perspective, for sharing your insights. Xiaoting, do you have some questions?
Yes. Thank you, Slagus. Thank you for your talk. I think it's very meaningful because for Chinese people, normally many of Chinese people are afraid of Islam or Muslim group, but they know little about either Muslim or Islam. I think today is a good opportunity for Chinese people, maybe other people, to know more about Muslim in Germany and Islam. Okay, so I think this is really a good opportunity for all of us to understand different culture and different people, right? Yeah, I have two questions actually. I'm very interested in Muslim and Islam as one religion or ideology. I think many people have misunderstanding about Muslim, about Islam, and many of them are afraid of Islam as one religion or ideology. Some of them know little about Islam. That's why they are scared of, they are afraid of Islam. I think we should organize more events to provide more information about Islam to these people. But on the other hand, many people, they are not stupid. I think they have knowledge about Islam, and this is the reason why they are afraid of Islam. I know some people in Germany, they argue that Islam is one politicized ideology. Okay, it's not a simple idea. It's different from Confucianism, and it's different from Christianity. And Islam is.
We can't hear you now.
What's the problem with the internet?
Yeah.
That's bad.
We can't hear you.
Oh.
Yes.
It's offline.
Mm.
But whoever says that Christianity and Islam is not the same at all, like that's the most ignorant thing I ever heard in my life.
I think they have a lot of similarities, right? But
They're almost identical.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a brother religion.
They're the closest to each other than any other religion.
I think so, even than Jewish, right?
More than Jewish even.
But the only thing similarities between Islam and Jewish is that you don't eat pork.
We don't eat pork.
Mm.
Yeah, we shouldn't. I think they also shouldn't eat. They shouldn't drink alcohol.
Mm.
The Jewish people don't believe in hell. That's
Okay.
true. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but like I said.
Okay, maybe I should enter again.
Hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened, but just now the live stream was broken. Okay, let me repeat my question. Actually, I have two questions. First of all, I really appreciate today's conversation. I think it's an opportunity for all of us to know more about Muslims as one group, especially Muslims in Germany, and it's also a good opportunity for us to understand more about Islam as one religion or as one ideology. Let me repeat myself. I think many people are afraid of Muslim. Some people don't know Muslim at all. Maybe some of them know little about Muslim. That's why they are afraid of Muslim. And Islam is one religion. But I know some other people, like German people. I have heard from them they argue that Islam is a very strong ideology, which is different from either Confucianism or Christianity, because Islam is a politicized ideology. What does it mean? It means Islam is strongly related to politics, and it's different from Christianity because for Christianity they have experienced religion reform, and the religion is separate from the government. But Islam is different. Islam has very strong connection with politics. That means the government has the obligation to spread Islam as one religion. Therefore, they believe Islam is an expansionist ideology. Okay, so that's why they are very afraid of Islam. This is the first question I would like to ask Slake. What's your answer? And the second question, many people agree that the countries in Europe and United States should accept more immigrants, and they should be tolerable. They should be tolerable to Muslim minorities, and they should encourage the culture of diversity and inclusiveness. But some people argue that when Muslim is a minority, this is no problem at all, and the mainstream society should accept them, and they should respect the Muslim as a minority, including their identity and their culture and their religion. But when Muslims are no longer minority, for example, in European countries, there are more and more Muslims, including in Germany, France, and UK, more and more Muslims. When Muslims became majority, or when they are no longer minority, they become a problem. For many of them argue, because Muslims don't tolerate other minorities or even the mainstream culture. They want to expand their own idea, their own religion. When they are minority, they demand tolerance from the majority, from the mainstream society. But if when their population grows, they don't accept the other groups. This is the second question. So how do you think about the two questions?
Okay. Islam being more of a policy, like more with politics. I don't agree with that. That's every religion pretty much. If Christians, for example, are saying that, then I'm asking if that is such a problem, then Christianity's history is also a problem, because the East Roman Empire built their whole empire upon the idea of Christian sabbatical ideas. Everything that was built and policies was built with Christianity in mind. To the Americans, I have to say, your country was also built upon Christian fundamentalist ideas, because that's what George Washington said. So this whole idea of Islam being a policy more than a religion, and it's not separated, is my opinion, not only ignorant but more of an opportunistic argument, and is almost, I would say, almost confirmation bias, because they look at certain countries and say, yeah, Islam can only do that when there's when it's integrated as politics. But you can do that with every religion. You can, I mean, look at China, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, that was built around sabbatical Christian ideas. Everything was built around the idea of Christianity, because this one guy thinks he's related to Jesus. And it worked because millions of people were following him. And that just shows that every religion can be used as a way of saying, we use this as a policy. Now, obviously, there's people who are going to abuse that, like the Saudis, for example, or the Iranians, because they both have a country that is built on Islamic law, and they're going to use it, obviously, to also sometimes oppress people. But to say that the Muslims are not tolerable towards minorities, if I hear that, I tell to people, why don't you go to countries like, for example, Iran? Because under the former president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, under his tenure, he built 10 new synagogues for Jews. If Islam is so intolerable towards other minorities or other minority religious groups, then why on earth does he build 10 new synagogues for Jewish people? By their definition, by their arguments, those synagogues would never be constructed. And on top of that, probably all of them would have to be massacred because they're Jewish people. But that's not the case. They also built churches for Christians because there's not just Muslims, there's also Christians there. In Islam, in the Ottoman history of the Turkish people, we had multiculturalism everywhere. I mean, there was so many, I mean, still to this day, we have churches that have been rebuilt for minority groups, like, for example, the Armenian Orthodox people who didn't have churches. But Erdogan, no matter what you think of him, he made sure that these churches are being rebuilt so the Armenian community can do their sermons inside these Orthodox churches. So I don't know what they say. I mean, also Jewish people, we also have a Jewish community there. There's no problem at all. Like, this is just more of a generalization. Yeah, they look at ISIS and other terrorist groups that destroy churches and stuff, but hey, we're all in this together because they kill more Muslims than Christians and Jews. So there's no problem with that. And to the Chinese people, I say, if you don't know so much about Islam, like, it's right there. Go to Sichuan, go to Gansu province, go to Xinjiang. Yes, go to these places. Like, there are huge Muslim communities there, and they don't seem to have a problem. So I don't understand why they don't do their own due diligence and inform themselves, like, personally what they do there. Like, this is very easy. Like, you don't have to be afraid of that. It's not like you land and they're gonna chop your head off. It's not gonna work that way. So I don't believe in this whole idea of Islam is the only religion that is political or doesn't separate a country from church and state. This can be every religion, in my opinion. The history showed me that. You know, it's whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism. Every country was building their foundations on religion, pretty much. I don't know if that answered this question. I think you also had another question about Americans. I didn't really get that question. Can you answer that maybe?
No, I'm not asking about American. Thank you. I think you have answered my question. But the situation, I mean, reality is very complex, very, very complex. The fact is that many people are afraid of Islam. I think we should give them more information about Islam. From my personal perspective, the Muslim world is very diverse. Okay, there are around 1 billion Muslims across the world. And the Muslim community is very diverse, very, very diverse. For some country like Saudi Arabia, they are quite conservative, but like Turkey, it's quite secular. I think people are afraid of Muslim or Islam. This is unnecessary. First of all, they should have more information about these people and about this the regime. But on the other hand, some people know Muslim and Islam very well. You have mentioned Chinese Muslim. It's true that there are maybe tens of millions of Muslims in China, but there are a lot of conflicts in history and in today's China. In history, for example, in Qing dynasty, there was very fierce conflict between Han and the Muslim minority, especially in Shanxi and the Gansu province. Tens of millions of people were killed, both Han and Muslim. I think people know Muslim. Some Chinese people know Muslim very well, but they are not convinced that the peaceful coexistence is very easy. It's not so easy. It's not so easy. For example, you have mentioned that Christianity has also strong connection with government, with the state. I think it's true. I think Christianity is also very expansionist regime. The European people have invaded the entire world. They have conquered large colonies. Okay, this is true, but there is a difference because of the 30 years war. I'm not sure. I'm sure you know about this history. Because of the 30 years war, the people have learned. 30 years war is one war between different religions, between Catholics and Protestants. Yeah. This war is very cruel, and the consequence is so serious. And then the people have realized it's necessary to separate religion from the state, from the government. So I mean, the Christianity world has experienced such a history, but for Muslim, I don't think there is such a experience, and the religion is always strong connected with politics. But it depends. Like I have mentioned, in Saudi Arabia, this is very conservative country, and Muslim and Islam plays a tremendous critical role in the country's politics. But in other countries like Turkey, I think Turkey is quite secular, and like Central Asia countries, there are also many Muslims, but I don't think Islam plays an important role. Yeah, it depends. But this is a concern of many people. I think we should talk to them. We should communicate with them to understand if their concern is real or fake or just unnecessary. I don't know. But I think for many Chinese people, as far as I know, I have communication with them. I think the majority of the Chinese people, both in China and outside China, for example, in Germany, many of them, I don't know how many, I think many of them, I think more than 50% are afraid of Islam. They have a lot of accusations against Muslims. I'm not sure. I think some accusations are false, and some others maybe they have concern. Maybe they don't have a positive experience with Muslims. I think the situation, the reality is always complex. I think we need more communication between each other. I think today, although we don't have too much audience, but I think it's a good try to have more communication between Muslim and other people like us. Okay, so this is my question. And
I think you just mentioned one point that Chinese people's fairness of a Muslim or Islam. I think somehow is it like kind of related to 9/11 or the ISIS? This type of like these extreme Muslim, the extreme Islamic people. And then I think I watched one of Chinese document, that very famous journalist documentary about these second generations of Europe people that who joined the ISIS, as soldiers. And then I'm quite curious about Snake's opinion, because there's many Chinese, I don't know, or even not Chinese, like they believe that the second or the third generations of these immigrants with Islamic background, they have some problem integrated with the mainstream German society or the Europe society. So that's why they they gave up with the integration, but then they turn back to the Islam, to the religion, and then they were easy to be attractive to ISIS ideology. So what's your opinion? Do you think it's quite biased or?
That's a bad thing. I don't like that. But I think most of the guys are disenfranchised. They don't just decide to do that. Like, yeah, let me just get into a terrorist group, because some of these people who go there, they weren't Muslim from the very beginning. Like some of them also start to become Muslims because they were been in jail and because they did bad stuff. So they look for salvation and repentance. So they find Islam. And the problem is they find people or preachers that have these very extremist views and make them join ISIS, while these preachers don't join ISIS. So those people are, what's the word? They're not being guided by their parents really much. That when they do that, like I also watched that documentary. Even the father was going with the kids to ISIS, and they thought like this was like a Hollywood movie. And I'm just thinking, you are part of a terrorist group, my guy. You kill innocent people, and that's not okay. Like I don't know what makes you think killing innocents is a good thing. You know, you kill also Muslims, by the way. Like you talk about your Muslim brothers and sisters, but you kill them. So I don't see the rationale here. I don't know, like, but they take advantage of those people because those people are very depressed and they look for a purpose in life. So they decide to do things like this because they believe this is the right thing to do, because someone else tells them that if you do that, you go to heaven. So I don't know. It's a bad thing.
So you think it's kind of related to family educations that they were ignored, or
family responsibilities, bad role models. Then obviously you get into trouble and you go to prison, and then that's when people have a different perspective of life, and that's what that's what changes them, I think. And this is a problem. Like,
and then what they believe is not the real Islam.
I don't consider that real because you kill innocent people.
And Islam should be more tolerant, and then
Islam should be fair, merciful.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think today people have many misunderstandings about Islam or little knowledge about Islam. But I just want to remind our potential audience for today's discussion. I think Muslims are very diverse. Muslim world is very diverse. For example, in many Muslim countries, they have the movement of the Muslim Brotherhood. So like, have you heard about the Muslim Brotherhood?
Yes, I heard about it. But
this organization.
There's not the Muslim Brotherhood. There's many different ones, actually. There's not just one. Yeah. There's many different.
Many different branches. Originally, it was from Egypt.
Egypt is one of them. Then there's one in Kuwait. Then there's one in Syria. For example, Osama bin Laden was actually a member once of the Syrian version of the Muslim Brotherhood. But I don't know how many terrorist attacks they did. Like, I have no idea. The Muslim Brotherhood at the beginning in Egypt, they were just protesting. Yeah. They didn't do terrorist attacks against the president or whatever. They just protested. Yeah. So I don't know if these guys are considered terrorists now, but I guess after the military was taking over, all of a sudden they became terrorists, and that's a problem, obviously. I don't know, but I'm not part of the Muslim Brotherhood or any other branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't know what's going on there, but I know that that's not a centralized group of people. It's always different groups, different branches.
Yeah, I mean, the Muslim world, the Muslim community are very complex. Why do I mention Muslim Brotherhood? Because this movement is also very complex. Yes, they are one part of the Muslim communities, but in Egypt and maybe other countries, Muslim Brotherhood have conflicts with the government. For example, in Egypt, they have huge conflict with the government. But in Turkey, Muslim Brotherhood, I think President Erdogan's ruling party is probably related to Muslim Brotherhood. So I mean, they are one part of the government.
That's what they say, but this is always what they say. But I don't see always clear proof that he is. I know what part of group he was. I know that. The person that taught him politics was a former prime minister of Turkey. His name was Necmettin Erbakan. And Necmettin Erbakan, I know, wasn't a member of Muslim Brotherhood. He had his own group, which was called the Milli Görüş. And Erdogan was part of that. They may have, however, same insights of Muslim Brotherhoods. You know, they talk about, I mean, Necmettin Erbakan was very open about his politics and what he thinks and what he believed in, because he was publishing books that you can still buy in Turkey, by the way. They're not forbidden, because he's talking a lot about Zionism and pro-Israel lobbies and how they try to take over certain countries, this and that. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but this is where Erdogan is from. But I don't know if it's Muslim Brotherhood. I don't know if that's it. Like, I don't know. People call them, by the way, people also call him that Erdogan is considered a dönme. A dönme is a group of secret people that are saying they're Muslims, but in reality they're Jewish people. Atatürk was also, the creator of Turkey, was also considered dönme, that he was secretly a Jew who created the Turkish Republic, acting like a Muslim. But I don't know if this is true. He also was called, I mean, he was also called a Freemason, but I don't know if this is also true. Like, but there's a lot of rumors going on there.
Yeah, it's complex. According to as far as I know, Muslim Brotherhood is a grassroots movement, and they are very attractive for the poor people, and they have done many positive things. For example, like social care, and they have provided health care to the poor people. That's why they are very influential and attractive for the poor people. And the Muslim Brotherhood has been the ruling party of the government. The president, I think Mursi has been elected as the president. He was one leader from Muslim Brotherhood, but later they had a huge conflict with the Egypt military force. Okay, so the story is very complex. I mean, even inside Muslim countries, it's very complex. Muslim Brotherhood is one Islamic organization, but in some countries they have conflicts with the government. In some other countries, like Turkey, okay, maybe they have very good relationship. It's always complex. So I think for many Chinese people, they have no enough sufficient knowledge about Muslim community. They believe Muslim community is just one entity, okay?
Yeah.
And everyone is the same. No, it's not true. I think it's very diverse. It's very diverse. And for the Islam as one ideology, people have concern. I think we need more communication. We need more knowledge about Islam, but many problems, misunderstandings, misperceptions, and but I think one of the biggest problem is that people have no sufficient communication with Muslims. That's why we have so much misunderstandings and misperception. So I think we cannot ignore Muslim, because around the world there are more than 1 billion people who have Islam religion belief. So you cannot ignore these people, and they are very influential, very important. So this is my comments.
Yeah, so I think we already have like almost 1 hour and a half discussion. I guess today's discussion is ending now.
Yeah, I think it's time to
So I just make
close.
a brief conclude remarks. Like I think today the conversation is quite like relaxing, that we discuss more about his Snake's personal experience as a Turkish born and grow up in Germany, that his childhood or like school experiences and identify and then belonging, and also we discussed the problems in German society or in German politics, that welfare state, immigration, Islam, or people's misunderstanding about Islam or Muslims, and yeah. So it's quite like a fruitful discussion, and I look forward more discussions related to Muslim or Islam in the future. So do we have more questions in the stream for the audience? From the audience?
Right now, I have not seen a question from audience. Maybe later people will watch our video.
Yeah.
They will have questions.
Okay.
So far, there is no question. But I think it's good. It's very good conversation. We don't have we don't have sufficient enough communication like today.
Yeah. Well, I think we can host more discussion like this. And for our potential audience, if you have some comments or some other ideas about Turkish in Germany or Muslim or Islam anyway, just leave a comments below, and then we can have more discussion.
Yes. By the way, I'm very positive about Muslim, and yesterday I bought some Turkish food. Yesterday I bought lamb spice, and it's very, very delicious. I like that very much.
I think at least like there's so many Turkish living in Germany. At least this bring some good food in Germany.
And it's not expensive like German food. 1 kilo lamb spice just 18 euro. Okay, and it's a not. So.
But you said that lamb in Turkey tastes better than that in
Germany. Because they use more fats. They use more of the fat of the animal. Here they trim the fat a little bit more. That's why. That's a difference. It's also with chicken and beef. You really feel the fat, and they obviously have different ways of treating the animals. They do have more grass-fed animals and stuff, so it's different. It's not garbage, but Turkish food. If you want to eat Turkish food in Turkey, it's better, obviously.
I think Turkish food is very famous in the world. Very famous. Turkish food, Chinese food, and French food. I have heard they are probably the three most famous food in the world.
How about Italian food?
I think Italian is better. I think Italian is more famous than French. I don't know. Because Italian restaurants are more often to see than French places.
Yeah, true.
Maybe French food is too expensive.
No.
I think Italian are also very proud of their food.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's so that if French food is more famous than Italian food, I think Italian will feel very offensive. I mean, it's just a joke.
All the people are proud of their own food. But I think it's lucky for us. We live in Berlin. I think we have opportunity to eat so much different food, especially Arabic or Turkish food, because of the cultural diversity.
Yeah. So okay. Do you turn off the stream? I just have one question that 你觉得我需要重录开头吗？
I don't know.
今天开头怎么样？就需要重录一下吗？
Let me stop. 我就是我们那个前